Good evening, I'm Jason Vio. This is CBC Windsor News. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with the growing calls to boycott Crown Royal whiskey. The push to snub the spirit follows a decision by parent company Diageo to permanently close the Crown Royal bottling plant in Amherstburg. But as Dawson Chen reports, boycotting the bottle may not be as straightforward as it seems.
Are you boycotting Crown Royal whiskey, as Premier Doug Ford suggested during his viral bottle dumping moment? Essex MPP Anthony Liardi believes you should be, to show Crown Royal's parent company Diageo that closure of the Crown Royal bottling plant in Amherstburg is unacceptable.
I think people should do exactly what the Premier did. I think you should go to your cupboard. If you have a Crown Royal in your cupboard, if you have a Diageo product in your cupboard, you should just dump it out. Dump it out right now. Don't even keep it. Don't worry about what the money you spent on it. Dump it out. Don't go to the store and replace it. You don't need it.
But righteous refusal to support Diageo as a company isn't as simple as not buying Crown Royal whiskey. Headquartered in the United Kingdom, Diageo is a multinational that was formed out of a massive corporate merger. The company owns over 200 alcoholic beverage brands, including Johnnie Walker Scotch, Guinness Stout, Bailey's Liqueur, Smirnoff Vodka, Captain Morgan Rum, Ciroc Vodka, and many, many more. Janet Patton, a reporter who covers the alcohol industry for the Lexington Herald-Leader in Kentucky, says that a boycott of Crown Royal may backfire, and a boycott of Diageo in general isn't very realistic.
Boycotting Crown Royal is probably really only going to hurt other Canadians because those are the people that are making Canadian whiskey. Diageo is huge. Diageo has more than 200 brands, lots of things that a lot of people like to drink. Diageo has made it clear that they intend to make really massive savings over the next 3 years. They want to cut $625 million.
Whether a boycott will be effective or not, Diageo's decision to potentially sacrifice Canadian jobs for U.S. profits has inspired many in the local community to take a stand when it comes to Crown Royal products.
Not buy it? I agree. Help us out.
Hopefully we can hit their pocketbook, the Diageo pocketbook, and hopefully that they get back to the bargaining table.
Is a boycott something that you would recommend?
Yeah, absolutely.
Solidarity, definitely. We got to stand together.
I encourage all of Canadians, all of Ontarians, stand up for the people.
Despite the Premier's strong words and whiskey-pouring stunt, the province has not announced any plans to remove Crown Royal from LCBO shelves. A source with the Ministry of Finance said Ontario will consider all options, but no final decisions will be made until after the plant's actual closure, set to happen by February 2026. Dawson Chen, CBC News, Windsor.
The labor force population in Windsor, Essex declined slightly in July and August, the second time there's been a reduction since 2011. That's according to Workforce Windsor, Essex. And even since May of this year, Windsor has lost around 800 people. Workforce Windsor, Essex predicts what's behind almost all of the local population decline is linked to what they call major reductions around newcomers and immigration by the federal government. The population decline comes as new Stats Canada data shows the city's unemployment rate went back up. It now sits at 11.1% from 10.2% in July.
There's a collision of a few policies and sort of international trends, I think, as well. You know, the U.S. trade dispute doesn't help. The fact that there are less jobs available in Windsor than there otherwise would be right now is largely, you know, tied to the U.S. dispute. If those jobs had still been here, I think we would be punching above our weight and still very much be leading the country in economic expansion and growth because of the EV battery investment and all the supply chain partners that have come here. I just think right now with immigration, you know, being reduced, with the trade dispute putting a lot like big dark clouds in the sky over sort of like economic certainty, people are literally going to where they can get jobs. And right now it's a tough job market in Windsor.
Canada, the workforce also shrunk. Stats Canada's report for August puts unemployment at 7.1%. Excluding the pandemic lockdown years, it's the highest since 2016. There were 66,000 fewer jobs last month, mostly part-time, and the sluggishness not widely expected. Combined with stubborn inflation, it poses a dilemma for the Bank of Canada for its next interest rate announcement set for September 17th. Well, more than 700 pairs of shoes have been donated to a number of local organizations. They're all work shoes designed for people walking into a new service industry job to give them a better step in the right direction. And the massive donation comes from a local businessman and philanthropist.
700 pair of shoes at $75. That's a huge donation.
They're perfect for a kitchen, they're perfect for a warehouse, they're perfect for manufacturing sector, they're perfect for a lot of jobs that we have and that our clients can access. So to be able to give them a pair of shoes will lighten the burden, because most of them come in, they don't even have money to buy food. So to put that pressure on them to say, you have a job, you're starting on Monday, but you need to buy a pair of shoes that are non-slip. $75 is a lot of money, so it's going to put smiles on a lot of our clients' faces, and we're really glad to get this donation.
Well, we're carrying a lot of heavy things, so without like proper footwear, we could drop something and it could definitely injure or damage our feet, and it definitely helps with protection. They're also very comfortable, so that's nice. It's very nice getting some for free. It's very nice and very helpful.
Some employers, especially small businesses, rely on the new employees and hires to have shoes ready when they come to the job. This being their first job and leaving government programs or things that were supporting them before, there's usually a gap that 1 or 2 weeks before their paycheck. So that was a gap that I saw, and I saw it as a barrier for some of these people going to work and having the proper safe shoes, or being able to go there with confidence on the first day. Imagine having a job and going the first day and feeling that insecurity that you're not prepared, even though you have the right training, you have the right work ethic, but you lack that confidence because you're showing up with a pair of running shoes. And so I'm really grateful that an organization like this and others in our community, whether it's the Downtown Mission, Hands in Hand Support, and UHC that supports so many other organizations, have programs where they will make sure these shoes go to the right people.
Colette Kennedy, what is going on outside tonight?
Well, we've certainly had some windy conditions. I think that's the word of the day when it comes to our weather anyways. These are the sustained winds, okay? These aren't the gusts that are going on, but we've had gusts in areas like Chatham, Kent. Well, you've been around 60 or just above, 65 in that area for London, and how about closer to 70 for Windsor with some of our gusts. So they've actually backed off, and it's encouraging to see those winds now just gusting between 40 and 50. We are no longer in that weather statement because the winds are easing up a little bit, and they'll get much lighter overnight tonight. Tomorrow, a beautiful day shaping up eventually in the afternoon with a high of 20 degrees.
All right, thanks so much, Colette. Prime Minister Mark Carney has rolled out a series of measures aimed at domestic economic growth and easing the pressure of U.S. tariffs on key industries. As Ashley Burke reports, the new measures may signal that the trade troubles aren't going anywhere anytime soon.
The Prime Minister visiting this aerospace factory near Toronto to lay out the first phase of his plan to try and transform Canada's economy. He says it needs to withstand the shock and upheaval caused by Donald Trump's tariffs and become far less reliant on the U.S.
Workers displaced from their jobs. Supply chains that have existed for decades disrupted. Companies forced to change where they find their materials and their products. And all of this is causing an extreme uncertainty.
Carney says all that uncertainty is holding back massive amounts of investment, slowing economic growth, and just today new numbers came out showing Canada's unemployment rate is the highest it's been since the pandemic. The Prime Minister announcing a series of new measures to help Canadian industries hit hard by Trump's tariffs.
The government's introducing a new comprehensive Buy Canadian policy that will move from best efforts to buy Canadian to a clear obligation to do so.
Mark Carney says he's also expanding support and loans for small and medium-sized businesses, offering a new incentive for canola and agriculture producers, and delaying a plan to force automakers to hit minimum sale levels for electric vehicles. A move the auto sector says it asked for after facing challenges for years.
Every single manufacturer here committed to making an EV or a battery or a plug-in hybrid. 85% plus of the product that are made here sold to the U.S. And the Americans said, we're ending the incentives, we're ending the industrial support. Let's go back to pickup trucks and dinosaurs. And the factories here are geared to push product there.
The Prime Minister's announcement here today is the strongest sign yet that American tariffs against some Canadian sectors are here to stay for the foreseeable future. This as Canada's talks continue with the Trump administration to try and reach a series of small deals to get some Canadian industries relief. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Mississauga, Ontario.
There's a pause on the federal government's 2026 electric vehicle targets, and the feds are launching a review into the overall mandates. It's part of a new strategy to take the pressure off the automotive industry and support sectors impacted by U.S. tariffs. But as Evan Dyer reports, not everyone is happy with the measure.
We have an auto sector, because of the massive change in U.S. trade policy, is under extreme pressure.
Mark Carney says tariffs have changed the situation for Canadian automakers, who are going to face a mandate next year requiring them to make at least 1 in 5 cars they sell electric.
They've got enough on their plate right now. So we're taking that off.
Carney says the mandate will be put on pause while the government conducts a 60-day review. Car makers won't have to meet the quota next year. Environmentalists say it's a disappointment.
We're worried. We don't really know what the extent of the review is going to be. And to be honest, we don't have a clear indication of the extent to which this government, under Prime Minister Mark Carney, remains committed to fighting climate change.
The auto industry, on the other hand, says pressure from south of the border made the change necessary.
We need the White House to change course. We need to invest in ourselves. I'm glad that we punted right now, but I'm also glad that we're still committed to it.
But not everyone is convinced the industry really is that committed, pointing to the fact that a maker like Ford hasn't brought a new electric model to the North American market in 4 years.
If you're serious about selling electric vehicles, you should be introducing models, right? And they have it. Now, in the meantime, they've introduced several models in Europe, the Explorer in particular, which I think would sell really well here. But they're selling in Europe, not here.
Lurie says that if the big three won't step up and the Trump administration is determined to go backwards, Canadians should have other options.
The mandate should remain, but the other thing that I think they should do is lower the tariffs on Chinese vehicles.
But the Canadian industry says Chinese car makers add nothing to the Canadian economy.
I think any loosening of the tariff for the Chinese has to come with an opportunity for Canadian suppliers or minerals and raw materials or dealers or Canadian workers. Right now, that's not the prospect.
2 provinces, Quebec and British Columbia, still have EV mandates on the books, but the federal and provincial rebates that once encouraged buyers are mostly gone. The federal government says it's considering bringing back a new federal rebate, but EV enthusiasts say that delay just encourages buyers to wait to see if they can get the same car for a better price later on. Evan Dyer, CBC News, Ottawa.
So what could this all mean for local auto workers? Unifor Local 444 says there are both short and long-term implications to the PM's decision.
It's unfortunate it has to be done, but I think I understand exactly why he's doing it. He's trying to find some relief for the industry in the short term. I would caution that long term, we need to make sure Canada is developing EV technology and EVs. So in the short term, I understand it. Long term, we are falling behind countries like China. They're finding ways to develop their technology around EVs. They're finding a way, due to that factor, lowering the cost on EVs. And Canada has to make sure we're doing that. The EV market is going to grow. There is North America is a market that's slower to the pump on EVs. Globally, it's continuing to grow, and climate change is happening. You're going to see EVs becoming a part of the industry, and if we fall too far behind, we won't be able to make the ground up.
Layoff notices have hit the General Motors plant in Oshawa. Nearly 250 employees at an auto parts plant supplier working there are affected. The termination date is September 26th, and bigger layoffs at the facility are anticipated, with GM itself preparing to eliminate an entire shift. It all comes amid Donald Trump's global trade war. Oshawa already has a jobless rate of 9%, second highest in the country, with the highest being right here in Windsor. It's now been 700 days since Hamas militants attacked Israel, sparking the war in Gaza. Israelis marked the day by taking to the streets, demanding the country's leaders secure the release of the hostages that remain in Hamas captivity. The Israeli military, meanwhile, continued its offensive in Gaza City. Sasha Petrusik has more.
There was a dramatic scene in the center of Gaza City. Multiple Israeli airstrikes hitting one of the tallest residential buildings in the city. As these hit the building, many people were sent running. Many people have also been living in tents all around that building, and there were injuries there as well. Now, this is significant because it's part of Israel's ramping up of attacks on Gaza City, where some million people have been living. It's been considered one of the few relatively safe parts of the territory because Israel has not had a military presence there, at least not a permanent one. But in the last few days, it has been ramping up these attacks, hitting various parts of the city with artillery, with tanks, and with airstrikes, and trying to get more people to move out of there. It's already ordered people to move, but many don't want to go because they don't consider anywhere else in Gaza to be safe anyway, so they may as well stay. However, they have opened themselves up to death and injuries.
مالناش ذنب، احنا نايمين الاولاد ما شفنا الا شظايا بتسقط اتت في الاطفال كلها والبنات 4 كلهم الصوابن ال4 2 راحوا و2 ظلوا كلهم اطفال ايش ذنب الاطفال.
Israel's defense minister, Israel Katz, says things are only going to get worse as Israel launches its major offensive to take over Gaza City within the coming days. He says today's strikes is just the beginning of the opening of the gates of hell, as he put it. This sort of attack and this operation is worrying people in Israel too. The majority, in fact, who are worried that the remaining living hostages there are going to be put at risk. There's 48 hostages still in Gaza. 20 of them are believed to be alive, and Hamas released a video of one of these who has been held for almost 2 years now.
Wednesday's crash of a funicular rail car in Portugal killed 16, and included in that number were 2 Canadians. Chris Brown reports.
The full international scope of the tramcar crash is coming into focus as a memorial at the accident site grows, and Portuguese authorities confirm the dead includes 11 foreigners. Among them, André Bergeron and Blandine Do of Quebec.
He was on vacation in Portugal for his 70th birthday, and his wife invited him as a gift, for his birthday. They were a happy couple. He just retired. He was just starting to enjoy, have fun.
Eric Bergeron is André's brother. The couple were prominent archaeologists who worked together at the Quebec Conservation Centre in Quebec City. Wednesday was to be the last day of their Portuguese holiday, and when news of the crash broke, Bergeron says he feared the worst.
I continued to text him, text his wife, say, are you there? Are you there? Are you okay? Delivered. So, okay, the phone is on. They don't respond. Something is wrong. And their daughter contacted the B&B where they were residing, and they were supposed to fly out. And they said, well, they didn't come back to pick up their luggage.
Then came the call from Global Affairs with the terrible news.
I'm not processing it yet, emotionally speaking, but I've been up and down crying and not crying. So my 2 nieces are shattered, of course. Imagine you lose your 2 parents in one shot, bang, like that.
The early working theory is that the cable that guided the 2 funicular rail cars up the steep cobblestone streets snapped. Those who were killed or hurt were on the tram that was descending when it flew off the rails at high speed and hit a building. Bergeron says he met with investigators Friday, but they wouldn't reveal much about the cause of the crash.
They don't want to disclose too much. It's still ongoing. It's early days. I think that investigation will last months.
In a release, Quebec's Culture Ministry called the couple pillars of the restoration community, and it said André Bergeron was considered a pioneer in his field. Chris Brown, CBC News, Lisbon.
Colette Kennedy joins us live now for a look at weather. And I know, Colette, you've been warning us about the wind that we've been experiencing today, those gusts. And so I shouldn't be so surprised when I tell you this, but I was leaving the building today and I opened the door, and the door flew open and almost went off the hinges.
Oh.
And
no.
But then it was shocked me in the moment, but then I was like, you know what? I should have known. Colette talked a lot about this.
There you go.
Should have seen it coming.
Yes, forewarned, right, with the forecast. Well, I'm glad it didn't actually take off.
No.
That could be dangerous. But, I mean, that's kind of the point, is that when we do have winds like this, they can be dangerous. Now, for Windsor, we saw those gusts around 70 kilometers an hour, but pushing closer to areas where there were wind warnings, closer to Georgian Bay and beyond in northeastern Ontario, those wind gusts were up around 80 kilometers an hour, 75 to 80 North Bay and Sudbury and through that region. So they were southwesterly, and as they were blowing through, it helped pick the temperature up. We're still holding in the low 20s, but it is a new air mass that's coming in, and that's just kind of this leading edge where we had the really windy conditions. And with this, we will find our temperatures actually kind of dipping down a little bit here over the next few days. I do want to show you the forecast wind gusts because we're no longer even in the special weather statement, and these are going to be easing as we move through the overnight hours. They've already been easing, but that continues this evening. I will say, though, that maybe 20 to 30 plus kilometers an hour, just with some of your gusts as we move through Saturday, something to be aware of. The statement gone. It is still in play in a few areas to the east if you're going to be traveling, but I'll tell you, if you're hitting the roads after the show, by the time you get there, those winds will have eased too, and those will have been lifted. Some instability with the passage of this front, and that's bringing those showers to the north of us. We're really looking at some cloud cover through the overnight and early tomorrow, but then we should be getting into more sunshine or maybe sun with a few clouds coming from time to time, so a little more variable. But I want you to know that there's an isolated shower chance as we move through Saturday, and even in Sunday we should have a lot of sunshine, but still a few kind of pop-up sun showers. You know how that is. It's sunny, and next thing you know, there are sprinkles coming down. That's even there with that possibility for your Sunday. 10 degrees, your overnight temperature for Windsor. Tomorrow up to 20, and these are these readings. A few degrees below seasonal. Monday as well. That turns around only for a couple of days, but you'll notice Tuesday and Wednesday things heat up somewhat.
All right, thanks so much, Colette. Have a great weekend.
You too.
And thanks for watching. We'll see you back here on Monday.
Good night.